And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of the 420 News. A little bit of a mess up there on the intro, but what the hell? Wouldn't be a live show if there wasn't a few little slip-ups, huh? So welcome, guys. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a lovely Christmas period. I know I did. I had a mighty fine Christmas period. I didn't spend it in prison, which is always a bonus, like, you know. But in saying that, like, I say it with a smile on my face, but at the same time, my heart breaks when I think of people actually who are in prison right now, of which there are many right across the world, Ireland, the UK, and the rest of the world. And our prisons are full of cannabis prisoners. So, you know, let's hope this time next year when we're back here, you know, after celebrating the Christmas, looking forward to 2025, that we'll be doing it with on a world where there's far less people behind bars, locked up, their freedom taken away over this, you know, this lovely thing that we're all here today because of this, aren't we? Like, you're all watching me because of what I'm speaking about this, about the injustice I'm rising up against around this. So yeah, it breaks my heart to think of all those people in prison right now, all around the world, here in Ireland, you know, and the UK. People coming to mind at the moment, Gary Hughes, Patrick Moore, although Patrick Moore is doing a bit of a cushier sentence, but still a sentence nonetheless. But there's others, you know, even across the US, where, you know, we always kind of look across to the US, as being, oh, look at all this, it's all legal, it's great, isn't it, it's amazing. But in fairness, like, it's federally illegal over there still, and they have a lot of people still in prison. So with all that being said, you know, instead of a bowl of celebration to celebrate the holidays, this is going to be a bowl in support, you know, a sacrificial bowl there to the higher powers of the universe, that those wishes that we just expressed there, that this time next year we'll have far less people in prison because of cannabis. Fingers crossed. But this bowl is for that, guys. Join me as we offer up this civil disobedience to the higher powers, and hope and pray that next year far less people are in prison because of cannabis. Please, God. Forgive me if this ball takes a bit longer to hit. It's she's nice and keefy. Who's that? I hope your socks are clean, says my dog. Oh, it was by. And me jocks too, I think. At least last time I checked. Oh, that was lovely. Oh, I love how easy it is to fog out this studio. Since insulating it, like the the hotbox ability of the studio has increased exponentially. As you can see, I'm faded, but thank God not faded like the last. You remember? I don't know if you caught that stream actually. What it turned out to be was actually fucking condensation on the inside of the lens of the camera. Didn't even know that was a thing that could happen, but please God, it doesn't happen anymore. And the shed that day, the humidity was quite low, but I just think it was from that cold morning. But anyhow, guys, welcome everybody. I see more and more people hopping into the hot box there, getting in their welcomes, guys. Drop in your comments. We'll try to get around there and read through as many of them as we can. Grab your parachute says, have you a green screen behind you? Reflected green might account for it. Yeah, possibly, actually. That's true, actually, because the light that I have up there is actually pointed directly at it because of the tilt of the roof, and it's pointed directly at the green screen. So maybe, yeah, there's a reflection there of green, because I can see it actually on the back of my neck there, a little bit of a reflection of green. So, yeah. We live and we learn, guys. As I said, I'm no professional production engineer or studio designer or anything. I'm literally a guy who got fucking harassed by the cops for cannabis and just couldn't take it. And this podcast, you know, is a child of that burnout of that injustice. But yeah, Scoozy there, guys. Ooh. Oh, we just opened this there on a new tab. Boom, boom, boom. Bobby O'Brien, what's happening, Mr. O'Brien? He says, I just went backwards, 100% back to hiding. Oh, no, Bobby. Did your trip to the beach, I think you were saying there you're going to have a coffee on the beach and a sneaky smoke. Did it not go your way? Was there too many prying eyes? No? Was that stuff you brought down with you there from New York just too hot for the Texans to handle? Oh, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. Hopefully it all goes well for you down there, bud. Hopefully things change down there soon. It's only CBD available, isn't it? It's still in Texas, like yeah. Anyhow, look, hopefully hear good stories from you, Bobby, but hopefully you get hooked up there with some local growers down there, doing their thing. There's a scene everywhere, like we are everywhere. Cannabis consumers, we are everywhere. Serenable, Happy New Year to you too, and to everybody else out there as well, guys. I don't think I'll be on for a late night stream tomorrow night to bring in the New Year with you. We'll see what we can do on that one, but I do think I am preoccupied. We'll see how that goes. Paul Walsh, what's happening? Mad Dog as well. Susie Q, welcome and Happy New Year to you. Joggo G, the roving reporter, says I'm here to look at Martin's pretty face. I love it. Linda Arnold, what's happening, Linda? Yes, fight that power. He could shape his eyebrows more, though, in my opinion. My eyebrows alone, but they're fine old slugs, those things, but it's taken me years to grow them out. Although I have to say, in the last 2 to 3 years, I don't know, is it stress or what, but I found myself actually like kind of rubbing my finger across it next. I start pulling the feckin' things out. Like, yeah, I don't even realise I'm doing it. It's kind of, yeah, I think it's just a stress thing. I don't know, but anyhow. Nice one anyway, Roving Reporter, but going to get herself to look at him there later. Hey, Mackie says, reminded me of Martin vanishing back in Back to the Future. Marty McFly. Martin Ware, what's happening, Martin? Welcome to Martin's World. Hey. Says, good message, but I think the sign should say, let the people grow their own. Think it's the sharing or selling that's the problem. Yeah, let the people grow their own. Yeah, that let the people grow their own. But at the same time, let the people grow, because Martin, if I grow my own and if you call over for a cup of tea, I can give you some biscuits, to dip into your tea. But why shouldn't I be able to share with you the cannabis that I grew if I was allowed to grow it? Like, why shouldn't I be able to share it? Selling it, obviously, that's another issue. If the government want to put licensing and all of that stuff in there, that's a conversation to be had. But why shouldn't I be able to grow and share cannabis just like I can grow and share strawberries, tomatoes, lettuce, cabbage, broccoli, the list goes on. I just don't understand it. Like, I really don't. Ooh. Like cup of tea on the go there. Bugsy's Evil Deeds, what's happening? Welcome to the Hot Box. Keita Halloran's out there as well. And Podge, what's happening, Podge? Merry Christmas, Podge, and a Happy New Year to you, bud. Hopefully you had a good one. Hopefully I get to see your face, man, in the new year. It's been too long, dude. If you're ever up in the city, do definitely hit me up. I'm always passing through bloody your neck of the woods, but sadly I'd be a passenger in a van and don't really have much say in where we go. Otherwise, I would certainly be hitting you up for an old cup of tea. But Podge, man, hopefully all is good out there with you, bud. But cannabis is the devil, says Mackie. Trees as well says, smoking some of that HG London pound cake. Nice. London pound cake. Oh, HG, homegrown. So I'm just thinking there, what's HG? Oh, yeah, homegrown London pound cake. Guys, honestly, if you're not already growing your own, guys, I don't know what you're waiting for. If the reason why you're not growing your own is because your buddy is growing it and is able to support you, then happy fucking days, you're sorted. But like, if you're still reliant on the black market and imported crap that comes in there from time to time, because a lot of the time, like, it can be good, but other times, man, you're getting stung for substandard, crappy weed. Like, shout out to Stevie Sativa there, who got stung with some contaminated cannabis. When looking at the cannabis afterwards with a macro lens, they were able to see that it was coated in some sort of residue. She experienced what was described as withdrawals from an opiate. And that's the kind of cannabis you're getting out there on the black market, unfortunately, because of the availability of these synthetic compounds that they can spray on that can kind of increase the effects of something, but maybe not in the desired way. You know, it'll increase the potency, but not the desired effects. But anyhow. Trees, I hope you all had a fab Christmas and are looking forward to New Year celebrations. Yeah, we certainly are. Bring on 2024, January 31st, then, big date there already on the calendar for us here in Ireland, where the Irish government on the 31st of January will be debating a bill to decriminalise up to 7 grams of cannabis. Now, 7 grams, as I would say, this is a pathetic bill, unfortunately, but I'm completely supportive of it. I'll be a critic of it for sure, but I'm 100% behind this. Like, it's all we got right now, and decrim of 7 grams is better than decrim of no grams, which is currently the situation. You get caught with anything, and unfortunately, it's still a criminal affair. So, 31st of January, that'll be debated, and I believe voted on above there in the Oireachtas and in the House of Government here in Ireland. So we'll see what happens. I'll certainly be doing a couple of live streams that day anyway, for sure. Other than that, was that Podge? I didn't have much of an Xmas, to be honest, because of my sister's propaganda. Oh no, man. Other than that, okay, besides drinking a bit again. No weed. Podge, man. Sorry to hear, dude. It is the propaganda in relation to like the cannabis stuff and kind of stigmatizing you because of your use of cannabis and your openness there. I would hope not, man, but I'm assuming there is. I know you had a bit of trouble there as well during the whole fucking COVID thing with him as well, so that kind of broke down over Christmas as well, if I'm remembering correctly. So sorry to hear, dude. But look, going into the new year, man, I hope it brings good and better things for you and everyone else out there. Grab Your Parachute says, my guy never gets bad, luckily, but it's still too expensive. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I was down playing poker with the lads there last night, and I would smoke our poker sesh, and one of the buddies down there playing grows a little bit of cannabis himself as well, and another one of the lads doesn't, and he couldn't get any cannabis. He asked the buddy, do you have any bit there for me? And he was like, yeah, no bother, I'll look after you. So the buddy gave him some, and next, the other buddy who just got the cannabis put his hand into his pocket, took out a 50, and was throwing it to the buddy, and man, what are you doing? But he goes, put that back in your pocket. I don't want nothing off you. Like, he goes, I didn't even weigh it or nothing. I just grabbed a fucking handful of it and wrapped it up. There you go, but it's grand. He goes, enjoy, Merry Christmas. And the buddy was still insistent, like, no, but take the money. But no, in the end, he put it back into his pocket, and and as it should be. That's exactly how it should be. As I said, if you were growing strawberries, if you were growing any other kind of produce yourself as a backyard grower, as a hobbyist, if anybody called your house, would you ever say, do you want to buy some of my strawberries? Like, you wouldn't. You'd be like, do you want to try some of my strawberries? Here, take some fucking home with you. Because if you're anything like me when I was growing strawberries, if the bugs didn't get them, if you managed to get them before the bugs did, you'd have an abundance of the bloody things. And cannabis is no different. The only reason cannabis is valuable is because of the risk you take, really, in growing it. But luckily, my buddy didn't see it that way and was more than happy to part with some cannabis for no exchange of money at all, and that's exactly how it should be. That is exactly how it should be, as I see it. Yeah, you should be able to go and buy it somewhere too, of course. Yeah, you should be able to go buy it, but you should be able to gift it as well. Like, come on. I just don't get it. But anyhow, look, I know I'm incredibly biased in terms of me not getting it. Regulate cannabis like grapes. Is it the Australians? I think that's where that comes from. But yeah, shall we pack up? Yeah, I actually already packed up a bowl. Job. We'll blaze up one more bowl and we'll get stuck into the news, guys. Get in one or two more comments there and I'll try to read them out before we start on the first news headline. But it's been great chatting with you guys. Nice one for all your comments. I don't know, am I chatting with you or am I more just ranting myself kind of while reading a comment or two? Yeah. Oh man, shit, no way, Podge. It's still the COVID BS. Like, is your sister not awake on what's going on right now? Like, did you see like that they're actually after confirming that it leaked from the Wuhan lab? Like so much of the stuff that we talked about back then. Well, I was even hesitant to talk about on here because of the online censorship, but within our own offline groups and stuff like that, we talked about it. And we talked about the COVID leak and stuff, but I refuse to talk about it on here because of the censorship that was going on at the time. If you even mentioned the fact that COVID leaked from a lab, you get censored, you get deplatformed even, like your page taken down and stuff. But now actually it's been confirmed, yeah, patient zero was actually a worker there. Ben Who. So who got COVID? Yeah, who got COVID? But Ben Who, apparently patient zero, along with two others named there alongside him, who were all workers at the Wuhan Viral Institute of Technology, or whatever it was called. So madness, like, absolute madness. And we see the effectiveness of these vaccines, you know what I mean? We were told at the time, like, yeah, they'd stop you from doing this and that, like, but it turns out actually not. The only thing that was stopping us was the restrictions on these the vaccine passports. But look, I'm not even going to get into that because that's kind of a tangent too far away from cannabis, like. But yeah, I suppose like the only kind of thing to tie in with it is like the mainstream narrative around, like, say, vaccine efficacy, around the leaking of it. Like, we were kind of led to believe a lie as such, like, or led to believe that the truth was a lie. And you bring that to cannabis, like, you look at the mainstream and what they were telling us about cannabis for so long, what they still try to tell us about cannabis. You can't help it, it's like, yeah. There's definitely a little bit of spillover there, like. Yeah, but look, Podge, man, sorry to hear that, but the divide and conquer shit that goes on out there because of things like this, it's crazy, COVID and cannabis. I know there was one person out there, and I won't mention any names, but I feel bad for it in a sense that it wasn't an intention. But when I spilled the beans when I talked publicly about that event that went on above there in Dublin, the cannabis market, there was a person who attended it and whose family actually ostracized her because they knew that she was after going to an event, and then when they seen the news article, they put two and two together, and then they gave this person a fucking hell of a time, unfortunately. But yeah, stigma, it's crazy. Like, it really breaks down people's relationships and stuff. Like, it's not even the substance, it's literally the stigma, the misinformation out there about it. Crazy. But sorry, Podge. There we go. A little bit of civil disobedience. Whoa. Well, Podge, man, if we can be of any assistance or help, man, get on over there to the Hotbox on Telegram, 24/7, dude. Company around the clock. Feel free as well. You can start a video call there on there anytime, dude. If you want somebody to just chat with, kick back and chat with. If you just want to use it as a means to as all of us as sponsors for you, man. Because yeah, it sounds like you don't want to be drinking. That's what it sounds like anyway, man. If you're enjoying the drink and if you want to, keep going for it, go for it, man. But if you need a distraction, if you want a community, we're here for you, dude. We're all here for you. Linda Arnold says, have you got the exact date for the comedy club that is Leinster House? My TD has promised I can be her guest that day. The 31st, Linda. The 31st of January, I believe. No, I won't. Correction on that, but that is what I have. That's what I've been led to believe. I should be up there above in the government building that day, as well as a guest of... I believe of People Before Profit or Gino Kenny. I'm not too sure which, or they're both the same difference. But yeah, I know Lynn Rowan is inviting people and stuff as well, and a couple of others. But we're going to pack the gallery that day. Yes, we will. Yeah, spent it on your own, just got drunk. Getting drunk on your own, man, it's it's definitely a recipe for disaster, isn't it? getting stoned on your own is just so different, isn't it? Like, you can sit down and smoke weed on your own and actually have quite a fine time. But sitting down drinking on your own, like, I don't know, man. I just I just can't see it being as enjoyable as sitting down and talking on your own. I know you'd know weed and you didn't really have much of a choice as things went that time, but like, yeah, it's funny, you compare the two and one is legal and one isn't. And it's the more dangerous one actually isn't illegal. Bugsy's Evil Eats has been busted for dirty pipes 3 times. First 2 were class 6 undesignated felonies during probation. Charged a misdemeanor after completing. Third strike, I'm out. Class 4 felony. Sucks, Bugsy, man. Any time behind bars is just too much. Too much. Like, 1 second is a second too many. Grabby Parachute says, when I run out, I end up drinking way too much. And NGL, not a good look. Sorry, man. My my thing with these acronyms is it could be hit or miss. Podge saying, "No, I had a few tears about Bobby. Still getting over him leaving. Oh yeah, man. My condolences there as well. And a shout out there as well, and condolences to Cosmic Flake, Steph, if you're out there, dude. Yeah, he also lost a fur baby there recently. Just yesterday, I believe he got home and he's one of his favorite cats. Bibi was dead. So my condolences to Buddy, because I lost my dog Spike on Christmas Day, 2019, and yeah, it's still sore today. Like, yeah, I accepted it. It's done. He's gone and whatever. Like, but it's not the same when I think about him. I don't get sad. So it's like losing a family member. So I totally can relate to that, man. Yes, nice one there for the subscription. What's not? Welcome to the Martin's World subscribers list. Paul Walsh as well says, gave up the drink and took up fizzy water. Can't give up the water, but don't miss the drink. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of excuse me, of fizzy water, to be honest. Although, like, so hit it with some flavouring, hit it with some orange juice there now or something like that. Now you got me interested. But anyhow, so let's get cracking, guys. As otherwise we will waffle on here for ages. Where is me book? Ah, yes, California workers. Where is that? Boom. Oh, there it is. I thought that was a blank tab, but it was just the CBS fucking eye. Kind of looked like a blank tab thing. Boom, there we go. So new laws coming into place on the 1st of January in 2024 in California are going to further protect workers who use cannabis off the clock. So this is good, welcome news here for 420 News anyway. So as I always say, like, man, anytime we're covering a positive news story in relation to cannabis, 99% of the time it's coming from somewhere where it's been legalized. It's few and far between a positive news story to come out anywhere where cannabis prohibition remains, the primary kind of mode of affair. Where's my hot box gone? Boom, there we go. But yes, new California laws coming in. I have a couple of notes here, so I don't actually have to read all of this article. So Assembly Bill 2188, it actually amends a current States Fair Employment and Housing Act. So that's an interesting one, that it's housing too. So I wonder how does it actually go further. I know in this article they only talk about the workers' rights and the amendments there. But it's in a bill that includes housing as well. I know there's a bit of discrimination when it comes to is it giving like houses and stuff like that? So I wonder does that come into play there for people like kind of on welfare and stuff like that. But anyhow, so the amendment basically exempts the disciplining of employees who test positive for non-psychoactive cannabis metabolites. So basically, when you get drug tested in workplaces, they can test for these metabolites that can stay around your body for, like, some of them will stay around for nearly up to 90 days, depending on how much you consume. So what this law does is it actually excludes these metabolites now from enabling employers to punish their employees with. So they can only now punish an employee if they test positive for the active substances of cannabis, i.e. THC. So if you've got a very high what would you say, blood serum levels of THC, then and only then can you be punished by your employer. And I would imagine even then they would have to kind of prove you were impaired in some way, because even saying that, the way these laws have been made, it's like, yeah, if you were to have a smoke the night before, you still could actually show some active metabolites there the next day. So I think there's still a lot of room there for argument in terms of the level of detection. I would imagine the employer really has to kind of prove that, like, oh, look, this dude actually has a high level of THC and we found him asleep on his desk. Like, come on, he's drooling all over his papers. Look, here's a photo. Look, we got a couple of selfies with him or something, something like that. Then they can be punished, and rightfully so. But this is great, welcome news anyway. But still, more needs to be kind of done. And I suppose more will be done. Hopefully soon we'll see over there in the US the lifting of the federal prohibition of cannabis. Who knows? Fingers crossed. It could happen. I know there's efforts being made over there for it to happen. But this is good, welcome news anyway. There's some comments there as well from NORML, the National Organisation for Reform of Marijuana Laws. They say that this law will not interfere with an employer's right to maintain a drug-free workplace. And the organisation also said that the law does not apply to those who work in the building or construction trade, or those who are subject to federal drug testing rules, such as truck drivers. So there is still, unfortunately, some cohort of workers over there, as mentioned here, construction workers, truck drivers, I'd imagine like fucking pilots and stuff like that. These people are still under like some federal employment, or it's kind of governed by federal laws. So they still would be tested. It's only people working in the likes of retail and other things that aren't, say, federally employed. They're not exempt, unfortunately. I don't know about the construction workers. I'm not too sure what the rationale is there. Why would they be federal employees, or is it another thing? Do they believe, like, because of the heavy machinery and stuff? Like, I would love to inquire more into that. I was trying to dive deeper to find more information, but unfortunately not. Maybe I'll reach out to the guys there at NORML, the organisation for reform of marijuana laws over in that particular area, because I know they have chapters all around America. So hopefully maybe somebody from their group can come on here and tell me more about that, because I am certainly curious around employees' rights as we kind of approach the changing of our laws here, hopefully soon in Ireland. So I would be interested in learning more about that. Other comments there inside in this then, testing or threatening to test bodily fluids for cannabis metabolites has been the most common way that employers have harassed and discriminated against employees who lawfully use cannabis in the privacy of their own homes, said Dale Geringer, director of California NORML. In a statement on the organisation's website, numerous studies have found that workers who test positive for cannabis metabolites have no higher risk of workplace accidents. And a second new law, Assembly Bill 700, also bars employers from asking a worker about their past cannabis use, although some employers are still allowed to ask about an applicant's past conviction history. I wonder if there's something going to be put in there in future, around convictions. Hopefully, once they lift federal prohibition, that they'll actually just expunge all of these convictions, because nobody should really have that stain on their name. It's not a criminal engagement. There are, like, I know there's people involved in massive criminal organizations, but to be fair, none of them should have a thing. If I shouldn't, if you shouldn't, none of them should, to be fair, no matter what level they're involved in. So there we go. That's that article, as I said, coming from CBS there. So positive news, unfortunately not from Ireland, but for Californians. Well, hey, celebrations for ye. But it's not all celebrations over there, you know, in the US. Because unfortunately, you know, as we mentioned there, you know, the state and federal type of thing, for many people over in the US, people who have immigrated into the US and who haven't, I think the term is naturalized, is it, when you become a citizen over there? Those people who are like holding green cards, and they could have been in the US for like in excess of 20 years, but have just never become citizens. They've never actually went that extra step. And for many reasons, people don't do it. You know, they want to retain their own passport for home. They mightn't just be wanting to go ahead with the process. Apparently, one person I was listening to there was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Actually, they were actually on about this citizenship there recently, and his dad didn't. He was misspelling stuff, and he just threw the papers up and left and never went and done it. But anyhow, I digress. Immigrants over there in the US, they can actually face deportation, or at least not deportation. If they were to travel home and try to come back to the US, they could be stopped at the border and detained if they were to be working within the cannabis industry over there in the US. So this is an article, boom, pop it up on screen there. Oh, you probably don't see that. Change it there. Boom, that's better. So this is an article that's over on Politico. It's a very lengthy article, guys. I had a read through it there a while ago, but the gist of it is basically they go through a couple of cases in there of different immigrants who've been in the US working, paying taxes. One or two of them actually have set up their own businesses, are in partnership in businesses, but because their business is in the cannabis industry and it's in states where it's legal, they're still regarded federally as drug traffickers. Yeah, drug traffickers. So in one of the cases here, there's a woman, she's in the country over 20 years, and if she was to leave the US to visit her family in, where is she from? This is the case of Ramirez, El Salvador. So if she is to travel to El Salvador, say for Christmas, New Year's, visit family, and if she tries to get back into the US, they could stop her at the border because federally she is seen as a drug trafficker. That is insane. This woman has been working there for 20 years and now she's like a prisoner in the country because if she leaves, they won't let her back in. So, you know, there's that effectively, like she is a prisoner there. She's kind of held against her will as such, just for merely being working within the legal cannabis industry over there in the US. So what a mess that actual whole thing is. All because, you know, Biden, the likes of Biden, who like pardon, he came out with this cannabis pardoning. Why isn't he actually just getting behind descheduling cannabis, removing its prohibition, removing this fucking restrictions in interstate commerce and all of that stuff? Like I was reading another article there recently about the state farming bill there, and talking about all of these different derivatives that have been made now from CBD, where they're converting CBD into all of these different kind of psychoactive compounds. And they're saying like what a mess this is, and it's all continuing because of the restrictions there are solely around, like say THC specifically. And that if they were just to remove that, a lot of these byproducts there that aren't really, they're harmful in a sense that like they're very novel. So you look at the most newest one there at the moment, HHC. Many of you may have heard of it. It's known as a semi-synthetic because it's actually found naturally in cannabis, but in literally minuscule amounts, and amounts so small it's incredibly difficult to detect. But HHC can be created then chemically by converting, I believe, CBD, exposing it to different chemicals in a systematic way, and you end up with HHC. So a semi-synthetic product. It's a natural compound, but it's made synthetically from a natural source. So it's a messed up thing. But again, if we didn't have the prohibition of THC here in Ireland or in the US, HHC wouldn't really be a thing. It wouldn't, guys. Come on, how many of you out there would be going looking for HHC because, you know, for whatever reason? You really wouldn't. You know, it's only because of the prohibition. So if as the arguments go, if they were to lift the prohibition, a lot of these products would disappear pretty much overnight. And people like Ramirez here mentioned in this article, and if you want to go look it up, the headline of the article there, she immigrated legally, she married a US citizen, but was denied citizenship for working in legal cannabis. So that's another one of the people involved in this, or maybe that actually is the story of Ramirez there. But there is a couple of others mentioned within this. It's a worthwhile read. It's just a bit lengthy, as I've already waffled on there for nearly 10 minutes, and if I was to read it all, I'll be here for another 20 minutes. But definitely worth the read. But it highlights the messed up situation over there across the US because of the federal prohibition, the legal state regulations. They just really haven't got it right. It's ignorance really there, like, causing this distress, because this is what it is. It's distress. If you're this individual and if you wanted to travel home to visit your family for Christmas and you can't, like, yeah, that's going to cause you all sorts of distress. So that's prohibitionists and the way they do it. Podge says, a friend of mine was recently caught with 29 plants, was lucky to get away with things because of his bad condition. Be certainly interested to hear more about that friend, Podge, and if that friend ever wanted to have a chat with me and share their story, I would certainly be very reciprocal to that. Susie Q says, anyway, all you great people have a great 2024, many blessings and all. Peace out, Susie Q. We used to get fucked up with the bong. He was quite the person, but when we got out the bong, he was hilarious for such a quiet man. And she's talking about her 6 people in my area died last month, but my buddy is a huge loss. Funny how we only truly know what someone means to us when they're gone. Sorry, I'm reading those backwards there, so apologies. Sorry for your loss there, Susie. Boom, just quickly browsing through some of these. It's 18, like, it's, you may need to refresh. What are we on about? Likes, was it? I love it. So there you go, guys. It's a messed up situation over there in the US, but not for all, I suppose. Like, there's a celebration that would have happened yesterday in the US. And it would have been a celebration marking the 1-year anniversary of legal recreational sales of cannabis in New York. So Bobby, while our buddy Bobby there out in the hot box, just recently left the state of New York for, unfortunately, a state where prohibition is, the way they do things down there, unfortunately. But in New York yesterday, they celebrated 1 year of legal sales of cannabis. And in marking the anniversary of the legal sales of cannabis, policymakers over there, those involved with the Office of Cannabis Management, they released the data to highlight the success that the legalization has been over there. So I just popped that up on screen there now. New York marks anniversary of legal adult use cannabis sales. So this is coming out from FingerLakesDailyNews.com. And it says, to mark the first anniversary of the first sale of legal adult use of cannabis in New York State, the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, on Friday shared a year-end review of a major market milestones and highlights. So a highlight at the milestones, the highlights in this here, and the first few bullet points anyways, 40 adult use retail dispensaries have opened for business across the state of New York. It says the market is expected to exceed $150 million in sales for 2023 once December's sales reports come in. Over 3.5 million units of cannabis products were sold. So again, just think about that, 3.5 million units of cannabis products. And I know the legacy market over there still prevails and is dominating the sales, but that's huge. That's 3.5 million units of cannabis sold that weren't sold by organized crime gangs. As I say, legacy market over there is probably not even organized crime gangs. It's just literally growers who've built the name and people just selling it for themselves. I know many people out there like that around Ireland even at the moment. And once legalization comes in, if these people don't get a license, or if it's not made easy for them to get a license, they're going to continue what they do. And that's what's happening in New York. But still, 3.5 million units were sold legally nearly 16.3 million in revenue in state fiscal year 2023 was generated. And over 16.6 million in revenue by the midpoint of state fiscal year 2024 is estimated. Cannabis Growers Showcase accounted for 3% of total revenue, and that's highlighted here as $4.8 million. I actually meant to look up what that is. Cannabis Growers Showcases. What actually is that? The following cannabis growers will improve the state office. More showcases will be added. Okay, so this is on the Office of Cannabis Management from New York. And then these showcases, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Is this like what they're saying, like where they're selling cannabis then? Like, is that what they're calling them? Yeah, see, I have to learn more about this, like these cannabis growing showcases. Is this just growers coming in and being able to sell their cannabis like a swap meet or something? Yeah, I'm so curious, man. I have more questions than answers here for you today, guys. Sorry. But big celebrations in New York anyway. And before we dive deeper into this article, let's quickly dive backwards. Let's go back, and we've a quick video from Fox 5 News. And this is taken last year as the first legal cannabis dispensary in New York opened its doors.
State's first legal marijuana dispensary now open in the East Village. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini is live outside Housing Works, where, Stephanie, people must be anxiously waiting to get inside.
So it's a day that will definitely go down in history, as it was highly anticipated. Look at the crowd behind me here on the sidewalk in front of the dispensary, underway inside those sales. The money is flowing. Sales are robust as the very first dispensary to sell marijuana legally in the state of New York opens its doors in Manhattan.
It's a beautiful day. Finally, I can step out the door and in my own neighborhood buy New York grown flower.
Housing Works Cannabis Company is located on Broadway and East 8th. People ready to buy lined up on the sidewalk starting early in the afternoon. Public sales officially started at 4:20 p.m. 420, a term long used to refer to marijuana smoking, something that was banned for a long time.
It's been a lot of work that's come to get us to this point. We do have a lot more work to do and a lot more stores to open.
New York legalized cannabis for adult recreational use last March, but the roadmap to selling legally in a retail location took more time. Now Housing Works is the first of 36 newly licensed dispensaries to open up.
Have you visited
must
this
be
store,
at
Bobby?
least 21 to purchase, and it's cash only for now. Eventually, debit cards will be accepted here, but no credit cards.
Credit cards are governed by the federal government, and cannabis is not yet legal on the federal level.
Among those supporting New York legalization, New York State Senator Liz Krueger, who introduced the bill to regulate and tax marijuana.
Shout out my colleagues in the Senate and the Assembly, many of whom had to really change their understanding of the issues in order to finally come to agree to support this bill. It took many years.
New York City District 2 Councilwoman Carolina Rivera among the first to exclusively purchase this morning before public sales started.
It's exciting. This is a historic day.
In a statement, Mayor Eric Adams said today marks a major milestone in our efforts to create the most equitable cannabis industry in the nation. It's a day that will go down in history, something many thought they would never see. The main competitor now for a dispensary operating legally under a license, the many in New York City and in the state still operating illegally. Officials say they will continue to crack down. Natasha, back to you.
Stephanie, so busy behind you that people are ready. All right.
So busy. So fucking busy, man. That was a monument. That was certainly a monumental day for people in New York to be out there picking up legal cannabis sales. You can see how happy some of those people were. Your man there talking about how, you know, it's just it's such a good thing just to be able to go in and to get it and not have to worry about the legality anymore of it. Like it's like breathing a sigh of relief, I suppose. But yeah, it's I can't wait for that here. Like that's all I'm thinking of at the moment. What would that look like here in Ireland? Like, you know, right, the government make an announcement, legal cannabis is going to be legal. What does a legal cannabis store look like in Ireland? I can only imagine. I definitely think like pub-esque. There's plenty of like you rundown pubs and closed down pubs all over Ireland at the moment because of the recession. Like, so those things are just asking to be done up. And to be fair, like they're perfect setting, comfortable. You know, you have your tables, the cushiony chairs and stuff like that. You have your high top counter with the high stools around, so you can stock up all your jars behind. Pubs are perfect, like aren't they? It'd be the Irish way of doing it, wouldn't it? But nice one for answering that question there as well, Bobby. Bobby answered the question there as to what those fucking cannabis things were there that I talked about there. Those what were they called again? Cannabis growers showcases. So Bobby mentioned there in the hot box a couple of minutes ago that yeah, they're basically like pop-up shops, pop-up showcases. A grower can have a pop-up, they get approved, they can bring their cannabis there and sell it, I'd imagine. So it sounds class. Flooded with Guinness strains. Put hair in your chest, that stuff, by the way. That's it, like proper black cannabis, like, you know, frosted over with a creamy frosting, like, you know, that'll be the Guinness strain for you. Like, it's not even purple, like it's just so deep a purple that it's black. But the nugs then are just frosted in whiteness, creamy whiteness, like, you know. Yeah, there's your Guinness, man. Podge is on the Guinness now. At the doctor, you have to get the iron levels up, Podge, yeah? One a day keeps the doctor away, they say. Podge says, my blue cheese in the 65-litre pod is coming on strong after the flip. Yes. Yes, can't come soon enough anyway for Harvest Day, Podge, but I look forward to the hearing all about the good taste there, but... Podge says, not worse than having a full room full of weed, not in the smoke. Yeah, I know. I've been there before. Been there before. Bobby saying here, I'd say everyone's crazy weed pick I put up that's not from Canada was from one of the Legacy guys' pop-up. They had a lot of them in Syracuse. Nothing like smoking weed from someone who cared about growing. That's it, Bobby. Man, you said it. And I've experienced that here time and time again. You know, we've had our little protests, our meetups, and at these protests and meetups, people would come up to you and they're like, oh, Martin, love your stuff, love what you're doing, but here, take this, try this, grew this myself, for myself. And that's when, you know, you're in for a real treat, like, is when somebody is, like, giving you something, they've grown it for themselves, like, and that being the only reason, and that's been some of the most fire weed that I've gotten, like, yeah, I would love to see a grow off there between some of the Legacy growers here in Ireland and some of the Legacy growers over there in New York, you know. What would we call it, like, you know, Battle of the Atlantic. Up in the high seas. Rent out a cruise ship for a weekend. Go sailing across the Atlantic. Go to the sunny spot. Growers Cup out in the ocean. There's nobody be stealing my ideas that I'd be sharing on here for free with you all, yeah? At least not first without giving me at least a ticket to come for free. I love it. Paul Walsh says, no better feeling than having a smoke and getting a sudden urge to drive a digger. That's it. Like, I'm thinking of like some Mary Cannon and some of their the scare tactics that they would use. And like, at no point did I see anybody in that very crowded street outside of that cannabis store trying to stab somebody because, you know, they experienced a psychotic fucking, you know, break or whatever that they kind of try to claim there quite often. Especially in places where it's prohibited to, like, you know, these claims come out of. You see the one where your man, was it he drove over his girlfriend or his girlfriend drove over him? Can't remember the details of that story, but like, it turned out they actually had synthetic cannabinoids in the end. They were trying to claim it was cannabis, but no, it wasn't. They got hit with those synthetics. That was over in the UK. Nasty stories. But we go back to this article here anyway. And within this article, not too sure if you can see this here behind me anyway, but to mark the first anniversary of, New York Cannabis has momentum heading into 2024, and we'll keep working to make this market grow, says Chris Alexander, the Executive Director of New York's Office of Cannabis Management. He says, we have a lot of work to do, and we have much to be proud of. Now that the core market architecture is in place, my team at OCM is ready to scale up and help this industry thrive across New York State. Now, there's another guy that I'm going to have on my list of people to talk to in 2024. Chris Alexander of the New York's Office of Cannabis Management. I'd be very interested to hear what their plans are for 2024 and what their thoughts and opinions are of what's happening over here in Europe, and how they see, the global cannabis scene shaping up, in the years to come. Be very interested in insights from these people. But they're saying here 2023 was a year of growth, pun definitely intended, for New York cannabis, and we know 2024 will be even more significant, said John Kagia, Director of Policy at New York's Office of Cannabis Management. Our first year of sales data provides valuable insights into the foundation that has been laid by our conditional adult use licenses. We have high-quality operators across the supply chain producing exceptionally diverse products that are drawing consumers away from the unlicensed, unregulated market into New York's legal, licensed stores. Not only is there incredible genetic diversity in a market with over 500 distinctly named strains on offer, including top-selling strains like Gasface, Blueberry Muffin, and of course, New York's famous, and it's not cheesecake, guys. In New York famous for cheesecake, but anyhow, at least I know some good cheesecake that came out of New York. And I'm not talking about cannabis either. But Sour Diesel, guys. Sour Diesel, New York's Sour Diesel, as I know it as it originally. That's where that was developed and came out of the diesel strains. So any other kind of strains that were bred from this, of which there are many, many crosses over the years, that comes from New York. And as I said, Ireland soon to be, we'll have our Guinness strain. But it goes on to say that there are also products available across the price spectrum, from low-cost value brands to ultra-premium products. Furthermore, it's not just flower products that are selling. Non-flower products, from infused gummies, innovative beverages like cannabis-infused apple cider to strain-specific vaporizers and high-potency tinctures, ensure that there is something for everyone in this market. And now that the office poised to issue hundreds more adult use retail licenses, so hundreds, guys, hundreds. Market's about to explode over there. They've only, what did I mention, 40? Yeah, 40. Hundreds coming up. There's tremendous excitement as consumers across the state are poised to gain access to this exciting market. Bobby, man, I think you left just at the wrong time, bud. But no doubt things will improve down there as well, where you're headed down in Texas, dude. But yeah, that's exciting times there in New York. Hundreds of retail stores to open up. Those growers showcases sound hella interesting. What I would love to get over there and experience that for myself. I know Graham Casa de Strogas out there. He has a video, I believe, up on his YouTube where he actually got to go over and walk around and chat with some of the people over there within one of these growers showcases. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, so check out his YouTube channel for that. I'm wanting the correction if it's there, but I do believe he did get to chat with some of the growers at that showcase. Because I think he was talking about the fact that he got ripped off, or was that with Stephen Garland's interview? Anyhow. So it gives more details here then underneath, loads of different data about, say, the applications received in 2023 licensing window. 6,934 applications received. 538 were processor licenses, 372 applications for cultivation, 351 for distribution, 1,349 for micro business licenses, and 4,324 applications for a retail dispensary license. Of these, 55% were equity applicants, totaling 3,826. Then it talks 279 adult use conditional cultivator licenses, 40 adult use conditional processor licenses, 463 conditional adult use retail dispensary licenses, 5,404 cannabinoid hemp licenses and permits. So there you go. See that one? Cannabinoid hemp licenses. That's what we talked about there a little bit ago about the repurposing of, say, it likes of CBD and stuff. These guys buying in massive biomass of hemp, exposing it to a lot of chemicals, extracting, converting, and refining, and then putting into the likes of vapes and stuff like that, vape carts into edibles and things. There's a lot of license applications there for that. A lot. And that's probably because these products as well, I believe they're not restricted in interstate trade as well. I believe. Then 10 registered organisations approved, 9 reviewed, 9 renewed, 1 new. One of the original RO renewals is still pending, and it says 6 registered organisational approvals to participate in adult use. Then it talks more about the equity and community partnerships and training. It says released a map identifying communities disproportionately impacted by past cannabis enforcement, demonstrating that approximately 25% of New York State population experienced 75% of the arrests over the last 4 decades. I wonder what dictated where that excess of enforcement was, is it like socio-economic deprivation? Is it, had that a lot to play with it? I'd imagine it did. Anyhow, and guaranteeing those who live in census tracts most impacted by enforcement qualify as equity applicants in New York's cannabis market. Provided training and mentorship to over 300 conditional retailers and 241 legacy cultivators and processors, traditional farmers, and food and beverage manufacturers. OCM's social and economic equity team trained and engaged 60 plus technical assistance providers to support over 700 equity applicants seeking assistance. OCM is providing up to $50,000 in grant to support for eligible TAPs to help support their efforts, assisting applicants in the recent application window, and held over 17 cannabis equity roundtables to present the social and economic equity plan to advocates, municipalities, elected officials, and interagency working groups. Medical cannabis, over 121,900 patients registered with the medical cannabis program, allowed for auto registration, making it easier for patients in New York to access medical cannabis. And you compare that then to Ireland, where we've got less than 100 or something. 121,900. Sickening, like, it really is. I know our population is a lot smaller than that of New York's, isn't it? As population of New York, I'd imagine it's a couple of million. The state of New York, probably multiple million, into the tens maybe. But Ireland's is what are we, 7 or 8 or something? In 2023, the market has generated over 150 million in retail sales. 150 million that didn't go to organised crime gangs, that didn't go to the illegal black market. Major success as retail storefront sales rose month over month in 2023 from 2.2 million in January to 18.8 million in November. Year on year there's a growth there happening, and it seems like that growth is estimated to grow right through into 2024, where they estimate in 2024 halfway through they'll have made as much as they made the entire previous year. That's huge. Huge. Says the office introduced a temporary initiative called the Cannabis Growers Showcase to create accessible retail avenues to alleviate the pressures on farmers to find available shelf space. Over the course of 141 showcase days in 43 cities and towns across the state, the Growers Showcase earned 4.8 million in sales. That's huge. I wonder what that compares to, say for a farmer's market here in Ireland, a farmer's market where farmers, local growers can show up and sell their wares. I'd imagine it's nowhere near that. Even the fancy ones with the food stalls and shit. Just thinking of the potential there, across Ireland, if you had these grower showcases here as well. Because we've growers up and down the island who would be more than happy to come and showcase their skills. But new enforcement legislation was signed by the Governor Hochul in May 2023, providing additional enforcement power to the Office and the Department of Taxation and Finance to enforce new regulatory requirements, close stores engaged in the illegal sale of cannabis, and increase civil and tax penalties for those violations. Since the Office implemented a new operational model of enforcement, the enforcement team conducted 369 inspections, including 103 re-inspections of locations believed to be selling cannabis without being duly licensed. As a result, these inspections, 305 notices of violations slash orders to cease have been issued, and over £11,600 of illicit products with an estimated street value of more than 56 million have been seized. And the office will soon release a 2023 annual report which will provide an in-depth look at the work of the Office of Cannabis Management in the past year. I'll be looking for that. I'll be interested in kind of what they've been doing over the past year and what their findings are. But, you know, well done to everybody over there in New York who made that happen. Great success. So, yeah, we're cheering for you over here in Ireland. Yeah, me and my, how can you see that? Yeah, Mr. Weed Cup. With my, like, tepid tea in it. I've been forgetting to take sips of. Bobby O'Brien saying 19.84 million in New York now, so that's the population of New York, nearly double that of Ireland, but still they don't have double the patients, medical cannabis patients of Ireland. They don't even have triple. They've probably more than 100. They've probably more than 1,000 times the number of medical cannabis patients in Ireland than Ireland. This is bad, like. Or like, let's say Ireland is 100. They have 100,000. Like, you know, that's 1,000 times. Anyhow. Yeah. I just can't beat the tea. Yeah. I wonder, is herself inside watching? If you're watching there, Miss, so pass out a pot of tea there. We'll keep the party going. But yeah, celebrations in New York. But again, as mentioned in the article previous, guys, I can't help but just think of the people still in prison. You know, there's people probably still in prison in New York State right now. Am I right, Bobby? There's probably still people in prison in New York State for federal cannabis crimes. Sickening. You know, you're seeing stories. I was looking at another article there a while ago about like these multi-millionaires in charge of companies that sell pre-rolls. They literally only make the skin and the roach. Like, there was one guy and they're just like making fucking millions, these guys. And all they're selling is the paper and the roach to the industry. But, and again, look, I'm open to question. Maybe this particular person, I'm not even naming the person. Yeah, you might see the article. I think I mentioned it was over on Forbes. Maybe they are contributors and supporters of people, of groups like the Last Prisoner Project and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't help but, you know, be heartbroken when I think about it. And I'm quickly just going to pop up a page there that I should have had open, but I believe I closed it. It's over on Instagram. Or no, I did have it open. It's on X, actually. Boom, I did have it open. Pop it up there now for you. Shout out to Grab Your Parachutes. Nice one for that stream deck, coming in super handy. Still haven't used the mouse though to move around the old Chrome and tabs, jump and all that crack, but yeah, super handy. Free Christian Reichardt. Like, this is just one of many cases there from over in the US, being supported by groups like the Last Prisoner Project. Christian Reichardt, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. There's a campaign there going on for the last couple of years now because he basically was a passenger in a vehicle travelling across state lines. You know, shout out to Bobby, who might or might not have been doing something similar there not too long ago, but maybe not to the same level as this guy. But as I said, to the level of this guy, he was only a passenger. He was a passenger in a vehicle with a number of other passengers. They were pulled over by the state police and they were caught with a sizable quantity of cannabis. Sorry there. He didn't actually know anything about it, apparently. Or at least he wasn't involved in the importation of it outside of just being a passenger. But because of how they do things over there federally and stuff, like what he was done for, okay, was conspiracy. The conspiracy to import and traffic cannabis. And do you know what he got for it, guys? He got 23 years in prison. And he was only 19, I believe, when he got that conviction. No, sorry, I think he was in his 20s when he got this, I believe. His parents, like his mother, she's been doing this campaign. I believe that's who's operating this page now that I'm even looking at. She set up these petitions that have been going on, you know, even during COVID there. She was really hopeful that her son might be granted early release because there was prisoners over in the US at the time getting early release. But no, he's still behind bars. Like this young fella, you see him here in the centre surrounded by his family. Somebody who's loved. And it's not only him doing a sentence, like his entire family is doing a sentence. So, you know, I can't help but bust or bubble a little bit, like, you know, celebrate, yay, great news, 1 year anniversary over there for cannabis, you know, workers getting their rights protected and stuff, but still, man, this guy's got like another 20 odd years behind bars, literally 20 odd years behind bars, and at the time when outside the windows of that prison he's in, he's you know, there's people as it's making millions of doing exactly what he was doing. Or wasn't doing. He wasn't even doing it. That's the even more crazier thing. He was literally a passenger, and the other people involved in it actually admitted, yeah, this guy wasn't even involved. They actually made a chart, a flow chart, showing from top to bottom, like the structure, like who was the top guy, who was, you know, whatever. And this guy actually wasn't even listed on it. That's how uninvolved he was. He was literally just a passenger, but still, nonetheless, he got done 20 odd years in prison. So that's a page that's over there on X, but over on Instagram as well as another page, and I'll see if I can just quickly get her up there again. Free my son, Christian Royhark. Yeah, that's the page. Boom. So that should be up on screen there now for you as well. So this is the Instagram page. So quickly, like, this is some videos here up on this page. You know, this is all being done by this guy's family. I believe he's got some brothers and sisters, obviously cousins, maybe aunts, uncles and things, and they've been all incredibly supportive of getting this guy released. He was sentenced to a 23-year sentence for cannabis. Let's see what this video is there for you. Just give a little taste of what's over on their page. Oh, that was loud.
Someone controlled you. They bought and sold.
So yeah, there's these videos up there, maybe showing as family photos, maybe as happier times or something. Not too sure there. I don't recognize my own son here. Look, year 8. This says. It's gonna pop down the volume just a little bit and the sound mix up.
Go ahead, envy me.
Yeah, that's the tune that they have up there for that. I don't recognize my own son. Year 8. This is 8 years. I mean, in prison. 8 years. I think it was 2016. He actually got locked up. I do believe that's when he was sent to prison. And I feel for that parent, like, you know. I really do. And he had no priors as well. See the hashtag here. No priors. A non-violent criminal offender sentenced to 23 years. It says here received 38 years total for a cannabis crime. Is that 23 years behind bars? What the fuck? Yeah, messed up, guys. So with saying that, then again, you know, just before I leave the US, I don't know, do I have any other stories to go back there to it? But there is campaigns out there ongoing. I'll pop it up on screen there now. Where is it? Pardons to Progress. Here we go. That should be up on screen there now for you. Boom. Yeah, there you go. So this is up there at the moment. There's a video here, and I'm going to play this video as well for you. But basically, this is a campaign where it's encouraging people, much like what Cran have done here in Ireland, where they made it easy to contact your local TD, who's in a partnership with Uplift. They're basically encouraging people over there to do the same for the governors to use their clemency powers to release every last cannabis prisoner. So there's a little video here explaining this anyway.
Happy 420, y'all.
Before you choke up this 420,
I'm asking you to help free the tens of thousands of people locked up for cannabis in this country.
I'm asking you to do this by joining the Pardons to Progress campaign. Here's the deal.
39 states have legalized some form of cannabis.
And the vast majority of Americans believe weed should be legal nationwide.
At the same time,
People are making millions of dollars selling legal cannabis.
Yet tens of thousands of people remain behind bars.
And this is what I call a buzzkill.
Enough is enough. It's obvious to all, and it is time that this destructive hypocrisy ends.
The good news is it can be done pretty easily.
I ask everyone to get in touch with your governor. After all, governors do have the power with clemency to pretty much release cannabis prisoners with the stroke of a pen.
But most of them haven't, and that's not going to change until we, the public, make a bunch of noise in the right, positive way.
So that's why I joined the Pardons for Progress campaign.
It's really easy. All you have to do is go on the campaign's website, look up your governor,
hit send on a pre-written letter urging them to use their clemency power to free everyone in their state still in prison for cannabis.
So go do it right now. It takes less time than you've already spent watching this video.
Please check out pardonsforprogress.com
and send a letter to your governor. Together we can make this a 420 for justice.
So we can ensure that every last cannabis prisoner is free.
Thank you.
Happy 420. Be safe.
Oh. Yeah, there you go. So again, I just popped that last little bit up. That's Last Prisoner Project and Cannabis Voters Project as well. Head Counts Cannabis Voters Project. Don't believe there's anything else there towards the end of that to highlight. Nope, just blank screen. I don't think there's anything excluding people from doing that from over here as well. Across the pond, I believe you could probably contact any governor over there in the US and just express, why you're contacting them as an Irish national. Just be kind of looking over at what's happening. Just express, you just think it's insane, it's absurd. It makes absolutely no sense why anybody would remain behind bars for cannabis at a time when the laws are crumbling around in federal decriminalisation or legalisation, whatever you want to call it, like the federal prohibition of cannabis. It's faltering. It's coming down. Its days are numbered. Genuinely are. So do your part anyway on that one. Do share that around. Sorry, there. Boom. Back out. Dogs just hopped off the door there. I was just wondering what was happening outside. Boom, boom. So yeah, as I said, so it's not all sunshines and rainbow and stuff like that over there across the US where things have been legal. There still is an ongoing campaign to free. They say tens of thousands. I would imagine it's probably in excess of hundreds of thousands of people in prison still for cannabis over there in the US. But maybe I'm just kind of being biased there as well. Doing what the prohibitionists do and exaggerating a little bit, but man, even if there was only 100, it's worth exaggerating a little bit on it because it's 100 too many. Paul Weffick saying all about the money that has no value at all, after all crying for the laws. Bobby O'Brien says that is a good thing, but I'm sure the prison system ruined the majority of them, and they will come out much differently than they want. So there's a bit of a conversation happening there inside and things. So I'm just reading back up through some of your comments. So forgive me. Grab your parachutes. I also have an Elgato green screen you can have if you want. Folds up and down into itself for ease. Can't remember if I offered it. No, you didn't, but honestly, no, you've looked after me more than enough. I have a big green screen sheet. It just folds up nice and neatly. I have a curtain pole hanging up and some little hanger clips. Job done, man. Folds up nice and neatly then as well afterwards. But absolute legend. Grab your parachute, man. Paul Effick says Vietnam vets got 10 years prison for a joint when they came back from war. Laws got changed a bit after. Yeah. And it's mad when you think about these laws like around cannabis for me and you and stuff like, and then you think about like the what happened at COVID, right? And sorry for going back here, like, but like I was after watching something there about like the city lab leak being confirmed and kind of pretty much actually having come from a lab, but like, where's the laws governing these people who are overseeing these things? Like, man, they shut down the world. The entire world came to a stop. Me and you get caught with cannabis, we go to prison, our freedoms are taken away. these guys are able to engineer organisms, like biological fucking mechanism, like warfare. Like that's pretty much what it was. Not like these things, engineered organisms. That COVID virus that what was leaked from the lab, it was a bioengineered fucking virus, like, because they were involved in all of that stuff. Like, and I'm sorry, my YouTube's going to get shut down, so look for my new YouTubes probably soon, because they probably still censor this shit. Like, but like, I go to prison if I got caught with cannabis, you know, if any of you get caught with cannabis out there, like, but meanwhile, if we're the heads of like some fucking viral institute technology and we leak a thing and bring a whole world to a standstill, like, yeah, actually we didn't have any laws there for that, did we? No punishment, no accountability. But me and you, individuals, like, freedom's taken away just for fucking having this beautiful God-given plant. Like, you know, if you subscribe to such beliefs, fucking God-given. Come on, focus. Go on, do your thing, camera. Come on, no. Oh, that's GMO for anybody who wants to know. Garlic, mushrooms, and onions. What's up, Bobby? So yeah, insane, isn't it? Like, really insane. Yeah, Paul F says didn't tell us that news yet. Yeah, there you go. Like, yeah. Paul F says Cerberry virus lab in China was Queen's money. Yeah, there was a lot of international investors there in that Chinese lab. It wasn't just the Chinese responsible for it. Like, there was a lot of outside investment there. Sorry if I keep going on about this thing. Like, you know, we'll get back to the cannabis in a sec. But you know, you remember Fauci, like, you know, that the likes of these guys, like, they stopped all this kind of research in the US, and then they moved the labs to China and invested in it, and then lied about doing so, and then shut down anybody who said that it leaked from there in the period after and during the pandemic. Mad. But, you know, boys, you get caught with cannabis, you're going to prison, do you know what I mean? Because you're such a bad boy. Your freedom's taken away. Meanwhile, the whole world's brought to fuck. It just blows my mind. Teresa says, like, God-given rights, they try to take them away from us. Well, they can try. They can try, you know, the likes, man. Guys, if people would just join me in future protests, honest to God, guys, if all of us done like what I did that time, and what I'm doing right here, right now, civil disobedience, I am displaying the possession of cannabis right now. I am breaking the law right now. This is civil disobedience. This is what we all need to do. We need to do it collectively and say to the government, guys, look, we don't accept your laws anymore. And they can't. The prisons are full in Ireland, guys. I've been saying this since, and I can say it until the cows come home. I don't know, will you listen to me? But, you know, and this will bring me to my next news piece, actually. 17th of January. Put that date on your calendars, guys. I'm in court, 17th of January. Why am I in court on the 17th of January? I am in court on the 17th of January for 6 charges of cultivation. So I'm getting charged for the unlicensed cultivation of cannabis. Yes, the unlicensed cultivation of cannabis. That's what the charge is. And 6 of them. I believe there's 2 for the Shandon Footbridge. There's 1 for the Corn Market Street area. There's 1 for the Grand Parade. And I believe there's 1 as well for outside of City Hall. So there's 6 charges anyway for the unlicensed cultivation of cannabis. And I'll be facing those on the 17th of January. That'll be here in Cork City in the District Court. There's no planned protest there on that day, but if anybody at all wants to come down on that morning, 10:30, that's when I'll have to enter the court and go in, and that's when the court starts. I don't know what time I'll actually be called, but at 10:30 I'll have to enter. So if anybody wants to come down there, I might be outside there, let's say from 10 o'clock maybe. If anybody wants to come down, I will do a live video from outside of there. If people want to join and we make a little bit of a demonstration out of it and we kind of show our numbers there, then so be it. I know in previous court cases I've engaged in civil disobedience outside of the courthouse before going into court, and I've done it openly on the camera. I've smoked a doobie outside of there. I burned my cannabis outside of there and I inhaled it. And I wasn't interfered with at all. you know, it was interesting. And I done that live as well. So 17th of January, for anybody at all interested in attending the Cork City District Court. As I said, I'll be down there myself, let's say 10 o'clock. I'll have the camera set up. There will be a live stream happening there outside of the court that day. And we'll see what happens in the court case. We'll do a live stream as well afterwards. The court case itself, actually, if we see what happens, all it's going to be on that date. So keep in mind, it's very anticlimactic. On that day, it's going to be Martin Conlon, call out, yep, I'm here. No bother, judge, charges read out, judge accepts jurisdiction, and then sets a date for hearing. That's pretty much what's going to happen on the 17th of January. The date for hearing then could be any time at all. It could be February, March, April, May, June, July. I don't know. Fingers crossed, you know, that it's maybe April 20th. That'd be class. Imagine April 20th up in court for the act of civil disobedience, planting cannabis plants in defiance of our laws. That'd be cool, but that'd be a waste of a 420 as well, I suppose. I think 420 as well this year is actually on a Saturday, so never mind. So that's my own news there, guys. 17th of January, I'm up in court there for civil disobedience protest. 6 charges of cultivation, 32 cannabis plants in total. So the total value there of that actually is in excess of the €13,000. But I don't believe any one of those single charges actually was more than €13,000. No, it wasn't either, no. So I don't believe I can get charged that 10-year minimum mandatory, because I believe one of the single charges has to be for over €13,000 worth of cannabis. So I don't think I can get charged the 10-year minimum mandatory, but still I am going in there with an accumulated value in excess of €20,000 of cannabis plants, albeit on separate charges. So it'll be very interesting to see how a judge receives that case, and how I might fare out. Potential prison sentence there again, but look, I will be appealing, 100% appealing any sentencing against me, even a fine, guys. If there's a conviction and a fine, I'll be lodging an appeal, and I won't be paying any fine. I know I said that's about the Dungarvan court, but the Dungarvan court, it wasn't a fine, it was a donation to the charity box. And when I walked to the back of the courtroom, I kind of wasn't really given a choice. The money was just put into my hand by the owner of Relief. Shout out to him, Mark, you legend. And he was like, man, just pay it, get it done, and it's dusted. We're done with this case. Like, he goes, my shop, you supported me, I'm supporting you, and I respected that. Like, I couldn't say no. Like, so I done that. It was a donation to St. Vincent de Paul as well. Christmas time, they needed it more than the courts and stuff. So, you know, whatever. I'll bow down. I paid that, I let it go, and I didn't get a conviction. That was a win in my eyes, I suppose, in a sense. Not the win I wanted, though. This case, though, however, it's going to be much different. I don't think there's going to be a donation to charity box in this one. I think the judge potentially will be a bit peed off in my arrogance, my boldness. But let's see if they have an open mind there and are receptive to the protest that it actually was. Because, again, as mentioned in the Dungarvan court by the prosecutors when reading out my case, Judge, this is very unusual circumstances where the defendant walked into the Garda station and gave the cannabis to the guard. Like, very unusual circumstances, Judge. Like, very unusual. Like 3 or 4 times he said it. Very unusual. So let's see what happens in this one. I'm looking forward to it anyway. Wish it came sooner. Paul Effick says, does Bill Gates get 50 for every copy of Windows and computers and no poisons paid? Yeah, Podge saying it's an American funded lab. Yeah, probably was. People still watch on YouTube anyway. We haven't been shut down yet anyway. But yeah, Keith, man, what a fucking world, like, you know. You have the likes of Gary Hughes, was growing cannabis in the UK and giving it to patients, maybe selling it to patients. I don't know, like, what the actual background was there, but the thing was, he was growing and giving cannabis to patients. That much I know. Whether there was financial incentive, of which I don't think, from what I've heard, People tried to pay Gary, even tried to cover the cost of his train ticket from what I've heard and read. And he was like, no, I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. It's my give back to the community. He's in prison right now. Man, you know, shout out to everyone over in the UK and what's going on over there in the UK at the free cannabis prisoners. But like, I'm not seeing much. Like, I'm really not. It's disappointing. Like, his activism died in the UK in the cannabis scene. I know it was very much patient led back in the day. Like, the United Patients Alliance, they were very much leading the charge back then. But in terms of, like, just say the wider cannabis legalization, the recreational cannabis market, what's going on there? Like, the right to grow, where has all that gone? Like, it seems like it's, I don't know, man. I think like the whole the private prescriptions thing. It's after like allowing this complacency to kind of happen. People are after getting like kind of comfortable with the situation, and there's not much fight back. Like, you know, people aren't as pissed off as what they might have been a bit. I don't know. And yeah, that outlaw guy. What happened to that outlaw? I was in Manchester visiting my brother actually, and I fired him a message and I was like, hey yo buddy, I'm coming to your neck of the woods, what's happening, can we meet up for a smoke? I was like, you can wear your belly and all and fucking use your voice changer, but I don't mind. But no, I heard nothing from him, and I only wish him well. I really hope he did have the interest of the community at heart and things, you know. I think when I last got a message from him, like, shit was kind of going a bit south for him. I think there was some raids going on there and stuff. He could be in prison right now. We don't know because we don't actually know his identity. Maybe fucking Simpa does. Maybe he knows what story is there with Outlaw, but Outlaw, where you at, man? He's gone like the wind. Ride him, cowboy. Yeah, madness, absolute madness. So yeah, guys, hashtag free Gary Hughes. I include it in the show description there all the time, along with hashtag bring Alicia home. I think free Patrick Moore is down there as well. I had free Joe Williams down there for a while. Joe's free now, thank God. Thank God for that. So yeah, we dive back into the news that I've lined up for you here from Ireland. I don't believe there's one from the UK actually, yeah. So let's dive into it. The first one there I have for you. A woman travelling from San Francisco was arrested at with cannabis worth €300,000 found in a bag in Dublin Airport. So this is becoming an all too regular case there. Yeah, Podge getting in Patrick Moore there too. 100% Patrick Moore, man. Free Patrick Moore. But this is becoming an all too familiar case that we're seeing here in Ireland as people arriving into to Ireland from the States with a suitcase, literally a suitcase full of weed. Like, no clothes, nothing, I don't think. Maybe you know, t-shirt or something. But man, it's from the sounds of it, like this woman had 15 kilos of cannabis in her suitcase. Like, I know myself, like, I struggle to keep a suitcase, say, under 20. So 15 kilos, like, it's fairly full, like. A couple of towels in there maybe over it, like, but these things go through x-rays and shit, like, there's no hiding it and such, like. It's just a luck of the draw whether it actually will go through the x-ray, or in this instance, this was an intelligence-led operation, so the authorities knew of this individual. So again, this just, man, it sets like these little beep, 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 like these little tingly spider senses go off here, like, you know, that this is a setup of some sort, like, that this woman was like a patsy, a decoy, that she was coming in carrying 15 kilos, but on the same plane alongside her, like, were 10 other people carrying 25, 30 kilos with properly full suitcases. You know, if this woman only had a half full one, they were like, she's getting caught with her anyway. She only needs 15 kilos. That's enough for the cops. Look, gives them their headline. Look at their headline. 300,000. Like 300,000 versus 15 kilos. Well, that sounds... Oh yeah, 300,000 is way more eye-catching than 15 kilos of cannabis, isn't it? Of course it is. Like 300,000. That sounds loads, like 15 kilos. It's like fucking making a load of cakes. You might buy that in sugar, like, for a bunch of cakes there, like. Making a big wedding cake or something, it's probably got that and sugar in it. But, you know, 300,000 worth, they get their headline. So meanwhile, the organised crime gangs, they're celebrating because, you know, the cops, they get distracted. They tip them off. Yeah, this one's coming in there. She's going to have 15 kilos of cannabis, 300,000 street value worth of cannabis, and she's wearing such and such a hoodie, and they nab her. And then as they're nabbing her, as they swoop in and bust her, meanwhile, beep, boop, boop, boop. A load of people just following in through with suitcases full, packed to the brim. Like, I'm talking 30, 40 kilos worth, like, you know, the heavy stickers put on them on the other side and all coming through, like. And the boys make a fortune off it. They can afford to lose the 15 kilos. So yeah, it stinks. And as I said, it's an all too regular occurrence now that this is happening. I'm following a couple of vendors on Telegram and on Snapchat and stuff, and I'm seeing them with these packs, and they're coming out of suitcases. So these guys are literally arriving in off the airplane, coming in with a suitcase. They're arriving into their apartment, opening the suitcase, and then about 10, 20 kilos coming out of the suitcase, a kilo of a load of different strains. What they bought over in America for, you know, they probably bought a kilo in America for what, $1,000 maybe? You know, somebody out there enlighten me. What are you buying £2 for in America? 2.2 pounds in America, a kilo. What are you buying that for? Like about $1,000? Surely, maybe even $800. Like maybe if you go to the right grower, like you bring it back here to Ireland, 20 grand. You know, why aren't you going to do that? And you do that by 10. 200 grand. And you do that by 10 as well. 10 suitcases with 20 kilos in it. Like, you know, now you're talking like, what's that? Fucking 20 million? 2 million? Mad, like 2 million, yeah. Add on another zero. 2 million. Ah, crazy. Yeah, exactly. It used to happen from Holland all the time, but it's not working anymore now. It's not a very popular one to be taken, I suppose, from. And it's a lot cheaper to actually get it in America, because I'd imagine if you go to Holland, you're still dealing with that illegal black market as such over there in Holland, because in Holland and in the Netherlands, you still have all of these countries all around it, like where they can easily export it themselves. Like, so if you go over there, like, you know, your bargaining power isn't as great as you go over to America. The market is flooded over there with cannabis at the moment. The price is plummeting. The wholesale market value, it's the arse fell out of that, like, and growers are struggling, farmers are struggling. The likes of Martin O'Brien, he was struggling, like, and I hope to have Martin O'Brien on there as well in the new year to have a chat about that. But he was talking about the fact that he was struggling over there in the US because the arse fell out of the market. But you know, that's why people then are going over there, flying back. Mad. Talks there then about the details. Number of people travelling through Dublin Airport and stuff. Talking about here between the peak period and Christmas, December 18th and January 6th, you could see more than 75,000 passengers pass through every day. 75,000 passengers. You think security are checking all of them guys? They're not. They're not. And as I say, if you're a smart organised crime group, you invest. You, as I said, you're getting a couple of kilos there. You're getting a kilo for $1,000. Let's say you throw $15,000 there towards your decoy. You know, this one thinks she's a part of the group coming in and not going to get caught. Now she's actually the decoy, and then the rest of the group get through. You invest that 15,000, and you end up with 2 million on the other side. Do you know? Why not? Why wouldn't you? Of course they are. They're buying off cops, aren't they? And in here, the seizure is a part of Revenue's ongoing operations targeting the importation of illegal drugs. If anyone has any information about smuggling, they are urged kind of like ongoing operations. Like, come on, guys. There's literally kids out there being abused right now, up and down the country. Do you know? Where's the operations now? Come on, put more man hours into that kind of stuff. Like, do you know? Why isn't the state funding bloody Childline more? All of these revenue officials here going out there trying to stop the importation of drugs. Like, fucking get them to volunteer for Childline and they'd be doing much better use of their time, wouldn't they? Anyhow, that's Ireland. As I said, positive news nowhere to be seen here in regards to cannabis, because the next headline coming out of Ireland, this is coming out of Mayo, the Western people above there in County Mayo. This is a man above there in County Mayo, and he was caught with cannabis resin that was in excess of €1,000. But it's funny enough, they actually are very specific here in the value of this. So they name the man, to give his address. I don't like reading through that. I know it's up on the screen, you might be able to see it, but anyhow, they basically carried out they raided this guy's home. They executed a search warrant at the individual's home on the 6th of December 2021, so over 2 years ago. And during the search, €1,005 worth of €1,005.54 worth of cannabis, guys. €1,005.54 worth of cannabis. Where did the 54 cent come from? Where did the €5.54 come from? Like, surely, come on, lads, be some, just fucking round it down for the lad, like, do you know, around €1,000, we got him at €1,000 worth of cannabis, resin, Your Honour. No, €1,005.54, judge. Oh, scumbags. Let's say that the individual had the defendant had 2 previous convictions for personal possession of drugs, and several other previous convictions, probably for road traffic and stuff and whatever. The defendant's solicitor said that his client works for a scaffolding company and is now living in Longford. He's been using cannabis at the time of the offence, but's now staying free of drugs and has completed 2 drug awareness programs. And the court was presented also with a clear hair follicle test. So the judge convicted the defendant and imposed a €500 fine. So this guy got a €500 fine and a lifelong conviction for getting caught with €1,000 worth of cannabis resin. But not only that, he had to do 2 drug treatment programs, is it? No, drug awareness programs. And he had to do a hair follicle test. State-sponsored terrorism, man. That's what's going on here. Terrorising us, as mentioned there, just to take away our rights. The rights they have no right to be taken away. They're ours, hence why they're rights. But they're allowed. Why? Because they have the power to do so. They have the power of the courts, the power of the cops. You're powerless to really do anything. Like, you know, you get stopped and side of the road. What are you going to do? Box the head off the guard. Then you're in more trouble, like. Try to fight them in the courts. They're going to box the head off you. Not literally, but figuratively, in terms of like a judge taking the book and throwing it at you, as they might say. Like, and they're going to lock you up, bang you up. How are you ever really going to win them in that, if that's the case? Like, you don't even have a right to a proper fucking defence, an effective defence here, because even the laws are in their favour. Yeah, it's legal. But judge, I have epilepsy. I have to use it because of my consultant. No, gibberish, man. I'm not listening to it. That's the judge's attitudes. I'm not listening to it. That was their attitude towards the percent of THC in the recent case in Dungarvan. I'm not listening to it. Told my solicitor or the barrister in the case that day to not to bring that up, that she's not hearing that at all in this case, that she disregards any information about the percent of THC. All she's concerned with the fact that it is cannabis, and that in her view, it's illegal, and that's all she matters to her. It's like, what the fuck? Irish justice system, yeah. So then we drive on. We go above to the north. Above in the north of Ireland, the headline reads, a 5-mile town man above in Fermanagh, he was caught with cannabis valued at £1,400. I have a couple of notes here. It's a bit of a lengthier article there, but I have a couple of details just to quickly drive through it. Or maybe I didn't. That was the other case. Yes, I remember this one actually. I should have wrote this down. This individual was sitting at home on April 23rd, minding his own business, when the police above there, the PSNI, were calling to his house for an unrelated inquiry to the cannabis. And in calling to the house, they noted that the defendant himself to be very pale when he answered the door, and appeared to have smoked a drug recently, and they smelled cannabis as well coming from the property when they arrived. So no doubt, like, the reason why he was pale, man sitting down inside, minding his own business, April 23rd, watching, the soccer and Premier League still on at that stage, drinking a cup of tea, having an old smoke for himself, enjoying life, happy out, and next sees the cops coming. He's like, no shit. boom, blood just goes, man. Blood sugars drop like pale white as a ghost, opening the door, shaking, about ready to drop. Terrified, like. Next, the cops come in Rady's house, search it, find £1,400 worth of cannabis in 2 different locations. It says as well that they found, did I say they found evidence of dealing, but he denied being dealing. But anyway, he was given an 18-month probation order. That's what I've written down there. That's an 18-month probation order for man. Yes, that's what it was. An 18-month probation order. And the drugs were seized. But the thing was, he was using cannabis at the time to deal with his anxiety and depression. Which, you know, shout out to N.A. guy. He gets prescribed cannabis above there in the north for his mental health. Like what's stopping this guy from being able to get a prescription? Like, is it the fact that, like, you know, there's the monetary thing? Is it the fact that, like, you know, in the legacy market, he's able to just to get it easy, and he couldn't be bothered going through the hassle of applying? Maybe he's not even aware of it. He mightn't be online, mightn't have even heard of the NI kind of guy, and the fact that cannabis is prescribed above there. Who knows? But he shouldn't be getting punished for what effectively is pretty much a legal thing to do up there in the north, and that's to use cannabis to treat your anxiety and depression. But you can only do so if you go through the hoops. And you get a license. Like, why would you need a license? Like, imagine needing a license to go out and get fucking a pill for a headache. Like, imagine that. Literally, like, you know? Again, fair of ranting, I'll stop. Because I'll keep ranting about that. That pisses me off, like, you know? You can go into a clinic, you know, private prescription thing, hand over, like, your hard-earned cash, and next they approve you, and all of a sudden, like, it's legal what you do, what was only illegal a day or two, the day previous, you know? Mad, isn't it? The stroke of a pen and the pushing of a few of these pieces of paper that we attach financial value to. Ones and zeros if you're passing it electronically, that we financially value. And all of a sudden, you're no longer, like, at risk of having your freedom taken away. How? Why? Like, why? And then the judge can't even entertain the fact of that. The citizens at the assembly, they couldn't actually hear about the fact that cannabis is used as a therapeutic product in Ireland currently. Oh, man. Drives me mad when I think of the whole thing, I suppose. Really, it just drives me mad when I think of it. So one last one coming out at you, and I believe this is from above in Belfast, actually. Shout out to NI Canada guy. Man, 39, wanted in Spain on connection with drug charges, was arrested in Belfast, above there in the Belfast, by the Belfast Harbour area. So this man was wanted in connection with the conspiracy, or he's, I suppose that's coming from America, the conspiracy. Like that, I think they're able to prove that this guy was involved in the importation of over 20 million worth of cannabis to Europe in 2013. 10 years ago, and Spain. So this guy's been wanted in Spain since 2013, and it's only now they're catching up with him 10 years later. Again, like, you know, this is an international operation. This involves many people communicating across, like, fucking from Spain to Ireland. That's a lot of manpower involved just to get this guy because of cannabis. Again, as I mentioned there just earlier, like, there's kids out there currently being abused around the world, and why aren't we putting more manpower into that? I wonder. Could it be that the people in power are on Epstein's list and don't want themselves to be exposed or caught, and, you know, the light pointed on them? Who knows? Getting really into conspiracy land there now, even though this stuff on COVID isn't conspiracy anymore. It's been shown to be true. Anyhow. So they mentioned here anyway, the police in the north arrested this man after the police PSNI working with the harbour policing unit, or the security, whatever is down there at the Belfast harbour anyway. They worked in swooping on this guy, and they arrested him. So the police service, the Sergeant Davy here says, from the PSNI's International Policing Unit, said the arrest was as a result of our collaborative working with the National Crime Agency and the Belfast Harbour Police. The police service will continue to work with our international partners to identify and arrest those sought for arrest and extradition. It'll be all good if the people doing, like, what they were looking for were actually a danger to us as such, like in terms of like what they were looking for them for. Like the importation of cannabis, like it's not really a crime to be concerned with, like, is it? Really? Come on, like tax avoidance at most is what it is, like is what it should be if they're doing it illegally. But he says here our message is clear. There is nowhere to hide in Northern Ireland, and that we will actively pursue all wanted persons believed to be in this jurisdiction. So there you go, guys. If you're wanted from the cops, don't be going up to the north to hide out, because they're going to come after you. So there we go. One more news story then, guys. I promise them we're done then. Yeah, that's the last one. We'll start wrapping her up then. We'll blaze a bong or two with you, and we'll engage with in some civil disobedience with you. Apologies. And we'll get through your messages in the hot box. So the last headline, for you. Boom. This is another fire over there in the UK. So this is over on Dewsbury Road, in Ingham. So this was a fire that that broke out at a property, and nobody was actually present at the property at the time, as kind of these cannabis growers can go, or at least, maybe they just abandoned ship as soon as they noticed the smoke and the fire, and they're like, bollocks, we don't have any fire extinguishers, run. But yeah, the boys, they abandoned the property if they were there. Nobody was found at the property, so luckily in this case nobody lost their life. Sadly, that wasn't the case on the previous story similar to this that I reported on there about a month ago from Manchester, I believe it was, where they did find the body of somebody in the apartment where the cannabis grow was happening. So maybe somebody asleep at the time who was there to monitor the grow, maybe working for the cartels that operated over there, the Algerian cartels and some of the other cartels, gangs over there that operate in the UK. So maybe somebody working for them, sleeping, fire breaks out, no proper security there, and they die as a result. Been saying it for a while that's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen as long as cannabis prohibition remains in place. Here we have another prime example of it, but luckily in this case nobody lost their life. The fire was detected, was able to be put out before any damage was done to any neighbouring properties. Substantial damage done to the property in which the fire actually broke out. But when the fire department actually arrived there and went in and started clearing it out, that's when they made a discovery then that there was a cannabis grow happening inside the property, and that was responsible for the fire. This happened on the 29th of December, so that was just yesterday. So there you go, over in Dewsbury in the UK, I believe that is. So Yorkshire Live. So that's the details of that case there. It's funny then, like down in the comments, should increase the sentencing for abstracting electricity, but there's actually nothing in the article about abstracting electricity. About 10 years seems fair for the risk of life and limb and property these cowboy electricians pose to the surrounding people. But to be fair, the only thing that needs to be done isn't actually increasing sentences at all. It should be just actually taking away the sentences around cannabis growing, allowing illegal and regulated cannabis growing industry the right to grow, so people actually wouldn't be abstracting electricity, as this guy is saying. It's pretty much organised crime gangs who do that. I worked in a grow shop in the city for nearly 2 years, and I knew nobody at all who was coming in there growing who was abstracting electricity at all. And what I heard from the growers in there is like, fuck it, my bill might be high, but as long as I pay it, I'm not getting any problems. So anybody abstracting, stealing electricity, as this guy is inferring here, that's pretty much organised crime gangs. This does Algerian guys, Albanians. Sorry to anyone from Algeria. So there you go. That's the final headline coming out of the UK, and it comes with, again, a call to end the prohibition of cannabis, to legalise and regulate the growing of cannabis over there, and allow people to be able to grow freely without fear of having their Algerian gangs more likely to be Albanian. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just corrected myself there as well a second ago. Sorry, man, my bad. As I said, apologies to the Algerian community. Although they might have their gangs out there too, like, but they're not as infamous as those Albanians. fucking rootless stuff that I've seen from some of those gangs over there across the UK. Yeah. So there we go, guys. That is all of the headlines anyway, as I said. I'm just quickly going to have a look at what's coming in via the Hotbox. So do definitely keep those comments coming in. We'll stick around for maybe another 5 minutes or so. Actually, we'll do 10 minutes. I see. You see what's coming up? Do you see what I see? Did I close that window? No, I didn't close it. There we go. You should see what I see now. Boom. 10 minutes. So sit back there, guys. Roll on up if you want. We got 10 minutes there to just unwind a little bit. I'm going to stretch a little. That's been 2 hours flies by here, like. Flies by. Put me notes away. Oh, one more news piece, actually, and it was brought to my attention there by a member of the Hotbox over on Telegram. So 1 second, I'll just pop this up on screen. It's over on Olio. Apparently there's been some changes made over on Olio. So over on Olio, I just popped that up on the screen there now again for you. So this is a medical cannabis company. I might pop over the screen. Boom. Medical cannabis company here in Ireland. So these guys are approved to provide cannabis to patients approved under the Medical Cannabis Access Program. They have a range of Bedrocan products, and they also have a very nifty little handheld vaporizer, of which I was gifted, and I've since actually gifted it on to another patient. Shout out to Kyle, who was more in need of it than myself. I'm kind of spoiled with vaporizers here. Luckily, I still have my Iolite Irish-made vaporizer, butane operated as well, which is really happy, super mobile. So you can like take a hiking and camping if you carry a little butane bottle with you in your bag. You never kind of run out. It's handy. But anyhow, I had no shortage. I shared it with him. But these guys, apparently they made some changes to their website. So talk to your medical consultant, get your CMR. How to monitor, yeah. Download the app. So they have an app. I don't know where the changes actually are up here, but what the buddy sent me were some screenshots. Well, I should be able to actually. Yeah, 1 second now again. I'll just pop me back up there. I'm just going to open up the Telegram, because I do believe it's Telegram I got screenshots on. Where is he gone? These nuts. These nuts has set messages to auto delete. So never mind. Those images have since actually disappeared. So yeah, I won't be able to pop them up on screen. So we might just quickly pop back to the Olio page there and just kind of show you what's happening over there on the Olio website. No. Boom. That's a better one. So if you go over onto the Olio website, anyway, if you haven't done it already, you have this little button up here, am I eligible? Over under 18, you hit your 18 plus, which I am. Then it talks, do you suffer any from these? It doesn't give you the option to say no. So this is where I'm curious as to where these nuts actually got those screenshots from, because I wasn't finding what he was finding, but what he showed in those screenshots was actually a whole range of conditions here added to the list. So I'm not too sure what the story was there. So that's the MCAP. There was a patient app. Maybe he used the patient app. So I'm not too sure where he got them from. These nuts, if you're out there, dude, hit me up with a link. But yeah, apparently they did expand the range of conditions which they were offering their products for. I don't know, are they going down a similar route to the other medical cannabis clinics here in Ireland, whereby they're working closely with a consultant of their own to get approval. I'm not too sure what the story is there. But I actually put an application in myself with Olio a while ago as somebody who qualifies under the Medical Cannabis Access Programme, because I have treatment-resistant epilepsy, whereby my epilepsy didn't respond to conventional anticonvulsant medications, of which I've tried 3 to date. Apparently Olio says you only need to try 2. My doctor said you needed to try 4 apparently, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, see what comes back. I'll be very interested in if my license can be approved with the help of Olio. So shout out to Richard, the CEO of it. Check your inbox, Richard. Or tell your team, I don't know, is it yourself managing that does doing the groundwork these days. So yeah, some changes there. Exciting times ahead for patients here in Ireland. Let's hope that the MCAP is expanded. Let's hope that these medical cannabis clinics, these private clinics coming here into Ireland, let's hope that they actually start contacting patients now in the new year. I know there's a number of patients, for anybody waiting for information on that, there was a number of patients contacted by these private medical cannabis clinics that are now moving into Ireland previous to Christmas, asking them to get in touch with their doctors to get their summary of care. Some of them have actually sent the summary of care back to those medical cannabis clinics, have yet to hear back from them. So I'd imagine in the new year, they're probably going to be some of the first people maybe to hear back from them, and many other patients out there who have applied and haven't heard anything back at all. I'd imagine in the new year, you'll be probably very quickly greeted with an email asking you to get in touch with your GP, to get them to release their summary of care to you, of which then you will provide to the medical cannabis clinic. So apparently you need to get it released to you, and then you send it to the clinic. So if you are getting in touch with the clinics, and if you're waiting for a response back from them, well, there you go, you can jump the gun. As soon as your doctor surgery opens up there again in the new year, get in touch with them, say, I need my summary of care. I believe it takes them a week or 2 or something to prepare it. And then you can go down there and collect it or something like that. So there you go, that's what you need to do. You'll be ahead of the curve, then you get in touch with the likes of the Medican. They'll ask you for this, and then you say, well, I have it, there you go, boom, and they'll be saying, yeah, no bother, we'll be back in touch. So let's hope, January brings with it lots of good news for patients here in Ireland, people suffering with the likes of chronic pain, insomnia, even people suffering with fucking eating conditions. They all need to be looked after. If cannabis helps them, why shouldn't they have access to it? Everyone should have access to it who's going to benefit from it, to be fair. I knew I had a bottle of water here somewhere next to me. Let's have a look what we're doing. Oh no. Hit the wrong one. There we go. I went down instead of up. I need to add this source actually to my Streamlab, my Stream Deck. 2 minutes there, guys. I'm just gonna get a practice bowl in just to make sure that my my civil disobedience is in order. Yeah, autism, that was on the list. ADHD, I was on the list that I seen in that screenshot. Oh, I started using a little spatula that I had here from my days back in college. I found it at the back of my drawer. I never used it in the lab. I had a good few of these things, but it's actually really handy for like scraping my grinder. There's a little wire screen at the top of the grinder. Kind of scrape that. You're encouraging more resin to fall through to the old keef collector underneath. But more importantly, like you're kind of scooping up a bit of keef there as well. That's on top of that screen, and you're loading the bowl up with nice keefy balls. Strain of the day today, guys. It's like Sesame Street on here with the letter of the day. Strain of the day, GMO, which is also like Sesame Street letters of the day. GMO, garlic, mushrooms and onions. Yummy. Apparently GMO cookies is actually the correct name. Oh, yes. 10 seconds, guys. My bowl is almost loaded. Ooh-wee. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Is this the one? Wah, wah, wah. Yay! Third time lucky. Very fitting there, like, so. Yeah. Rubbing in soundboard. Bastard. So 420 out there, guys. Blaze one more bowl of civil disobedience up there with you. Comments coming in. Max Farr SS, belated Merry Christmas to you all, and here's to an amazing new year. More of the same, yeah? Fuck all that is. No, man, not more of the same. We can have more of that same, fuck all, but like, what we need more of definitely is change in regards to our laws around cannabis. So more of that, please, yeah? Hey, TG is out there as well, Temple Grower. Sending this up, all the civil disobedience across the pond to you, my man. Some locally grown garlic, mushrooms and onions. GMO cookies apparently is the full name, actually. I believe the seeds actually came from Niagara Zone Seed Bank. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all, TG. Gifted to the Irish community there by somebody across the pond. What? Those keefy bowls, like, they just keep hitting. Excuse me. So there we go. 59 minutes to the next 420. So with that, we'll start saying our goodbyes. We'll read out a couple of more comments. But before we do, boom, pop that up. Let's see if I can show you this. Media. Excuse me. I'll mute myself there 1 second. Oh, sorry. Choke 'em on there, a bit of a delayed one. Just looking for an image. It's in here, definitely. Seeds, boom. Where is that seed? Oh, man. I just wanted to get up a picture there and to show off, I suppose, a little bit as to what we got here recently over in Ireland. We had a care pack sent over from across the pond at some very lucky Irish growers. And where's that picture gone? Oh, it must have disappeared off it, did it? No, there it is. I finally fucking found it. It was way back. Guys, the guys over in the hot box, man, they'd be busy. They'd be busy. But there you go. Have a look at this one for yourselves. These strains arrived over here, and these are going to find their way out there now very soon to very lucky growers in the Irish community. So these are strains that have been produced by Exotic Genetics. Gary Satan. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of those ones. There's a couple of different crosses there of Gary Satan. The RS11 one I'd be very interested in, as I tried that RS11 before. One of the lads had some and it was fucking it was savage. But yeah, there's some really good ones. Grandmaster Sexy. Oh, I love these strain names. Blackout Bobby. And that's a shout out there as well to the sender of that care pack. But yeah, Fire Genetics going out there to the Irish grower community. Some real Fire Genetics. It's great to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in 2024. Hopefully we see some leniency in regards to the homegrown of cannabis, because there is some quality growers out there, I can tell you that now from experience, and just from seeing pictures that are shared from time to time on the likes of the Hotbox and other spaces there online where Irish growers congregate. That New York Growers Showcase thing has just really got me excited for what the future might be, because that's one potential model that would be a really good way of kind of doing things. A bit of a middle ground, like, until we get a proper regulated market as such. What's going on here? What's dirty? What am I missing here in the Hotbox? What's going on? Oh yes, TG's joining with a post 420 dab. Hopefully that hit nicely. Go on, kitten lungs. And I done a dab last night. Oh my goodness. I actually think I shared a picture of that up on Telegram too last night. I think it is. Yeah, this should be one of the more recent photos. You're down doing a bit of smoke or poker there last night. Great crack. But we done some dabs. Good lord, I messed myself up on one of them. No, it never went up. I think my phone went dead not long after. Yeah. But anyway, we were down there as things go, smoke a poker, bongs flowing around, the lads having a crack, and kind of as the bong gets flown, you hit the bowl, you pack the ball, you pass it on. He hits it, he packs it, he passes it on, and that's kind of the thing. Like, and if the ball is in front of you for too long, and if you don't hit it and pack it and pass it on, like, you start getting a bit of heckling going on, like a bit of crack, like. But it's funny. One of the lads at the table actually was a complete. I don't want to discredit the guy completely, but he fucking had complete wiped out after one dab. We've done a couple of dabs. We done 2 rounds of dabs, I think, because those dabs hit hard, like. The first round was relatively mild. I would have said mild, like, as it was just an average size dab. But it absolutely wiped out one of the lads, where to the point of like 3 or 4 hands into the game of poker, he was like, "Lads, I know how to play poker, but I just can't follow what's going on." He's like, "I'm going to sit in the couch over there and I'll try to join you again in a minute." He went to sleep for 3 hours on the couch nearly, like, and it was complete wiped out. Like, it was so funny. It's just your kids dead, all 4 of us. We're just wrapping her up there, honey. Just telling the gang about last night's poker game. But yeah, you got absolutely wiped out anyway, and yeah, then not too long afterwards, we went for the second round of dabs. Actually, when he woke up, it was like 3 hours later, we went for the second round of dabs, and Dylan broke out this really dark fucking stuff. He made I think he made it himself, like. So it was more like a Rick Simpson oil, a full cannabis oil extract, like, than actual, like, some high quality clear dabs, like. Left a nice residue at the end of the bowl, but like, he just put a fat lump of it at the top of the dab, and he's like, "Yeah, but test that out." Well, if I did, like, oh geez, I was coughing for about 10 minutes afterwards, 20 minutes. Like, I hit it first, and it was like, yeah, we're doing this, yeah, you're getting through it. Like, and next, it just the delayed reaction to cough, like, went on for ages. Funny ass game of poker then as well. It was mushrooms been taken at the start of the game as well by a couple of the lads. Done a little microdose myself. Yeah, it was just a little microdose. I haven't taken a microdose in a while, so it was yeah, it was very welcome. But a much needed, long overdue game of smoke of poker. But I suppose why I share that story, which is because it's something we should be all experiencing and sharing on a regular basis out there in society. Like, you know the way you go to a pub and there's darts games at the pubs, there's poker games at the pubs, and there's just drinks and there's pub pints at the pubs, but there's tea and coffee down there. You don't even have to go out to drink. Likewise, there should be fucking cannabis and offer down there as well. You should be able to go down and do the same things and socialise in the same way around as we do with cannabis. And I shouldn't have to be on here ranting and raving and taking time away from my family who are out there waiting for me right now to come back and to spend time with them. Because I'm not in prison right now, thank God. Although I do feel fucking imprisoned by the prohibition of cannabis. And we do fight for our freedom every day, and taking the time out here is a part of that fight for freedom. But we shouldn't have to be. We shouldn't have to. As soon as they lift the prohibition of cannabis, then my time could be spent enriching the lives of my family and my friends and my community and my society. Do you know? That's what I want. But yeah, look, for fear of ranting and raving more, we love you and leave you guys because yeah, we've got 4 kiddies in there apparently and they're waiting, so we're going and cheer them all up. I believe the Hunger Games movie is going to be watched as well later to any Hunger Games fans out there. Yeah, we were watching that since the beginning, myself and herself, the boss lady. So we're going to try to finish up that. What is it now? Like a quadrilogy or what is it? Is it like 5 of them now? What's that, a saga? But anyway, we're going to do that. The roving reporter, he went all in. He did indeed, boy. He went all in and he went broke. He made a return afterwards, like, and he kind of tried to start playing, and then he was like, "Oh, lads, I'm gonna just like go all in, and I'm gonna lose my chips." Like, and actually wins when he went all in. And then there was just a stack of chips left there because he just refused to play. He was just bait. Funny, poor fella, but yeah. But the moral story, guys, is he got up afterwards. He felt fine after a good nap, and he was like, "Right, lads, I'm gonna head over home, and I'm gonna go sleep some more, and I'll see y'all tomorrow." He didn't need to go get his stomach pumped or nothing like that, as could be the case out there at certain family gatherings when drink can be flown quite freely. I was doing a bit of Christmas shopping there, and it was funny. See one lad, two lads, pushing trolleys, packed to the absolute. I wanted to take a photo of them, but I kind of thought it'd be rude, just kind of get up my foot. But like literally packed to the rafters with drink. Heineken was the drink of choice there, and a couple of bottles of spirits. Captain Morgan was in there, a few bottles of gin, but literally 2 trolleys full of alcohol. Up to the counter, no bother. Beep, beep, beep. Scan it through. There you go. Here's the money. Got it. And meanwhile, the government talking about like decriminalise 7 grams of cannabis. Fuck's sake. Yeah. Grab your parachutes, I wish. Podge says, I hardly leave home because the way things are. It'd be great to do a community area to puff away in. Yeah, no, it would indeed, Podge, like, you know. And I'm sure there's many people down in your area who enjoy cannabis, but like yourself, because of fear of being targeted and persecuted in the community, they hide away, they stay home, to keep the cannabis at home. They don't let people out there know that they consume cannabis, and then they end up just being kind of very isolated as a result, man, and turn to the drink then when they run out of cannabis. You know? Hi, Elijah. Elijah apparently is watching the whole time. A new #1 fan out there. Sorry, Aaron and Alexis. They were always competing for that #1 slot, but it seems like my little champ is taking it. Right. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. I see all the Happy New Years coming in. All the goodbyes. Nice one, guys. Very long Irish goodbye, typical. Grab your parachutes, says, let's hope none of us are arrested or jailed in 2024. Yeah, let's definitely hope for that, because I'm going to be facing a couple of interesting charges anyway, as I mentioned there earlier. Court date starting the 17th of January. So let's see what happens. So to everybody else out there, goodbye, guys. Happy New Year. Enjoy. Have a great evening and bringing in the new year, and I look forward to seeing you back here in the new year, if I don't get live there at all tomorrow evening. So to everybody, goodbye. To Elijah, see you in a few minutes, buddy. Coming in now, bye. So bye bye.